bukolo jamalia, ukole iogu, mayuche iogu. You are TV, Amadou Kole Yopogo.
Good day, viewers. My name is Alhaji Ilyasu John, your anchor person on the program Political Panorama. From the station of Unity Radio and Television, URTV. My guests on the program this morning are two renowned comrades in Nigeria, not just in Kogi. And some of you that are just seeing them on the screen, it is Republican, because they are household names within the Nigerian context, except those that are born later part of this century not. If you school in Nigeria and you pass through unionism, you will know them. To my right here, I have with me Comrade Jacob of Manachi Nadeko.
Thank you for having me.
God bless you. You are welcome. And to this side, I have my brother Friday Onu. Friday James Onu, right?
Yes.
Friday James Onu, Republican. Republican, you are welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us here.
The topic of discussion today, we are going to talk about youth involvement in politics, with particular reference to Kogi youth involvement in politics. And our choice of this topic for discussion is because the election is around the corner, and most of the time it is the youths that are used either positively or negatively in electoral activities. Let me start from my brother Nadeko.
Yes.
Nadeko, assessing the role of youths in politics within the democratic setting from 1999 to today.
Yes.
Will you say Kogi State youths have been actively involved in partisan politics?
Yes, to a large extent, yes. And on the other way around, we should try to measure the level of their involvement. Why I say to a large extent, yes, is all political activities that led to the emergence of every leadership that we had from 1999 till now were propelled by the youth. If it is by voting, if you come to queue on election day, the highest percentage of people you are going to have on the voting demographic are the youth. If it is in terms of thuggery, the highest number of people being used in the brigandage that happens during elections are still the youth. Now, I think we should be talking about how much of their involvement yielded or get a backward integration with relations to their investment in politics. This is where we find it hard to be able to make a categorical statement. Most especially that our youth feel shortchanged within those periods of engagement. Thank you.
So go ahead, I will do.
Now, like I had earlier mentioned, if you look at it from 1999 till now, the participation of youth was so significant that they directed most of the elections. So much that now we have most of the youth in active politics, as it were. But unfortunately, how much of their engagement have become productive? What has come out of their engagement in politics? How much forward have we moved from 1999 within the period that the youth are allowed to engage in politics? I think all these are the things that we should look at to build a foundation, to use as a foundation to build for the future of our political escapade.
All right, thank you very much. We'll come back to that and my brother Republican.
Yeah.
There are many definitions to politics. But as a student of politics, there's one particular one that I have specific interest on, which is who gets what, when, and how. Assess, let us see. Will you see the youth have been adequately compensated for their role in politics? Are they benefited? Have they really gained from politics?
Well, it depends on how you want to measure it. If you are taking it from the angle of empowerment, it depends on how you define empowerment. It cannot really be said they've really benefited. Because empowerment is not just all about sharing tricycle, Okada, motorcycle. It's not all about it. You have to look at it from the angle of human development. How well and how far have they been developed to really stand the test of time with the present world economic development that we have? And if you look at it critically, the youth of Kogi have been subjected to poverty, so that when you give them just little, they will so look at it or appreciate it and look at it from the angle of you doing more, that you've done more to their life, which is not really which is not really what it should be. Understand? Compared to the mobilization of the youth and women. Because when you talk about youth, you can't just rule out the women. You have to integrate them as well. So it cannot really be said that they've really benefited.
Thank you. Again to my brother Nadek.
Yes.
From the angle of youth, restiveness,
Yes.
violence,
Yes.
comparing Kogi to other neighboring states like Nasarawa, Niger State, Benue, Kwara, and other states within the Middle Belt.
Yes.
What would you say is the image of Kogi youth?
Well, the image
That's why looking at this from
with respect to youth restiveness
and violence.
you see, youth restiveness in this case is politically related. And I beg to say that it is designed to keep the youth at the level of weaponized poverty and using them to the end of the political gains of a certain class of people in the society. Of course, let me even use Kogi East, where I have observed the elections most times in recent time. On election day, you see youths brandish gun, run up and down, distort election. Those weapons they carry, they cannot even buy it. AK-47 by public information is above 1 million naira. And somebody that lives in a shanty is running up and that can hardly feed, had 3 square meals. So how would you wonder how he got that gun? So if you look at the restiveness in our case, it is not from bottom to top, it is from top to bottom. It is a reflection of whoever have designed them to become tools for brigandage in politics. And if you look at it, well, I believe in this forthcoming election, we are going to make sure all that come to an end. We must design a strategy to bring that to an end. Why did I say this? You cannot continue to use your people as cannon fodders and expect them to develop beyond that standard. You cannot continue to breed thugs instead of breeding doctors, breeding architects, breeding engineers from the university that you have, and think you are going to have the best of leadership. As it is, leadership is diminishing within that sphere where violence has become the working hand and the tool that people use to propel their political agenda. And you see, it is not ordinary. It is because they want the cheapest means to power. The cheapest means to power is to keep a bar above the people by presenting them with leadership that is poor in knowledge. People cannot, if a professor is in Ankpa, he cannot rise above his local government chairman, because that is the chairman of the local. In fact, the powers that the government vested on that chairman is beyond anybody going above him. So I think we should look inward, recruit leadership, and the current leadership recruitment process must involve intellectuals, because intellectuals are the melting pot for the development of every society in the world. The moment you expunge them from this process, you have expunged one strong and vital part of the process. And if we continue like this without asking our questions, how long are we going to continue to bear arms for some people? How long are we going to engage our own? How long are we going to even continue spilling our own blood for somebody's benefit?
For peanuts.
For peanuts. People wake up in the morning with guns and knives running after ballot box and human beings. It's abnormal. And for it to be allowed, you must create a leadership that allows it. So goes the people, so goes the leader.
Thank you very much. You will get there. One brother, again, still on that youth wrestling, because it's one of the factors militating against our development. It's a most are facing us, especially in COVID, is like the reference. Now, how do you think we can consciously disarm these people through reorientation? How do you think we can reorient these people to disarm them?
Like you and I know, thuggery has become a very lucrative industry in Kogi State. Very lucrative. Lucrative in the sense that, just like my brother said here, that they have put some individuals that do not have the intellectual know-how and are not above certain bar. And when you put such people in leadership position, the people that they can work closely with are those people that are not educated. They don't have shame. They don't have conscience. They don't have conscience. They can do anything for money as long as they can earn their living. It will take a lot for we to really reorientate them, because you must create an alternative. If you don't create an alternative for them to see the benefit of that alternative, then we'll end up doing nothing. Because if you reorientate them, you have to create an alternative where they can earn their living.
Legitimate living.
Legitimate living. Are you getting me?
I'm with you.
It saddens my heart when I look at Kogi East from Itobe. Let me take it from Itobe to Olamaboro. You don't have any serious mechanized farming.
Is there even one that is minor before you
understand?
Apart from petty tomato.
You understand? There is the advent of cashew now. Are you getting me? Even the pure water bag that we use comes from Onitsha.
That is correct.
Are you getting me? The leather nylon bag that they used to
package pure water,
package okpa,
they buy it from Onitsha.
Comes from Onitsha. The plastic rubber that we use everywhere for as takeaway pack and all those comes from Onitsha. Then what are we really producing? What are we really producing? If as little as all these things are that you use daily, you understand, you cannot produce it.
And that does not even require large industry.
No, these are industries of 20 million, 30 million. But instead, some of our brothers and fathers who have been privileged to make some money, instead of them setting up some of this factory, they'll come and say they want to look for governor, they want to look for...
And they will use 20 million to buy just
form. Giving that money to the national secretariats of the various parties. Money that you can use to set up, you understand, minor cottage industries and all this, where people can earn their living. Set up foundations that widows can come and work. Little processing factories. None. Instead, you want to run for government.
That you are talking about. Do you know that by the time they finish producing this cashew, they take it in raw form out for sale?
You need to instead of processing. There is a factory I was watching documentary on in India via the YouTube. The factory is owned by missionaries. 90% of the employees there are widows. It's a cashew processing factory.
Cashew that they don't grow in.
They don't grow. 70%, if not 80% of the cashew in Nigeria today comes from Kogi East.
Over.
Yes.
Over.
Some of us,
over 80 to 70.
May God continue to bless somebody like Mgali. When Mgali saw Muhammad Ghali.
Yes.
When Muhammad was crying as far back as over 15 years ago that we are producing this thing and we are not at the helm of affairs of this organization.
Yes.
He called my attention. I was the one that mobilized boys, you understand, student leaders and youth, sometime in 2005, 2006, to join him in Abuja to be able to secure a very small position.
In the leadership.
Very small, I can't remember the position there, whether ex-official or one of those. Instead, the dominant forces in this thing are from the southwest.
Producing cashew.
They are not producing cashew
To the extent we do.
That is why today,
In fact, at a at a second meeting, it was I and you that met him at the Chambers of Commerce and Industry.
Yes.
To agitate why should people that are not producing cashew head cashew organization in Nigeria.
And we are not heading cocoa.
We are not heading cocoa. We are not heading this or that.
Are you getting me? That is why when people, I'm sorry to digress, that is why when some people come up today that they are leaders of Cashew Association and they are fighting Mgali, I look at them and I laugh. When this man was struggling for this thing, trying to integrate our people into this association, bringing the youth into this body, where were they? Well, sorry for digressing.
Yes, we will get back there, my brother.
Yes. Yes.
All of this boils down to leadership.
Yes.
Where you have a leader that is a visionary leader,
yes,
that is aware of the plight of the people,
yes,
is in the know of the raw material resources that we have within our environment.
Yes.
You tailor his program and activities toward establishing factories and companies, industries,
yes,
that will make this thing of benefit to the people.
Mm-hmm.
Look at our leadership.
Yes.
The leadership of Kogi State.
Yes.
For 9 good years,
yes,
we have had people from Kogi East,
yes,
where this cashew in question is being produced.
Yes.
Assess. Will you say that those leaders have failed or have ignored? What will you say as regards the vision of our leaders in the past towards this raw material that we have in our place?
Well, I want to say something here, that there's a problem of leadership selection in Kogi State. There are some positions that shouldn't go to loyalists. There are some positions that should go to technocrats, experts in various fields. For example, you can't make a man that does not understand the dynamics in the agricultural processing system or agricultural value chain system of the current world standard and make him a commissioner for agri. It's as easy as agri seems to be. It has its own technicalities. As easy as agri seems to be, it has its own channel of operation that gives it the needed backup that can bring in investment. And that makes me to go into the idea of foreign direct investment. If these people were aware of this in that period, why not just go to Vietnam, where they take a large quantity of our cashew for processing, and say, okay, we are tired of exporting and the tedious nature of our people running around to get cashew, to move it to where it comes to you. We are no longer going to export cashew. Introduce one of your factory at a percentage of 40-50, 50-60, 60-40, 70-30, whatever agreement is even reached. It will benefit a larger member of the community in a collective form than somebody buys 100 bags of cashew and give it to one young Indian boy. He goes to reap on the whole collective economy of the people. But until we are able to start seeing the effect of this on our soil, until we have visionary leaders, not leaders that carries gun, AK-47 instead of pen. Not leaders that host meeting with talk instead of intellectuals. We will not be able to move forward. Let me even give you an example. What is the corporate social responsibility that Dangote does to our coal? The road that leads from everywhere the coal moves through.
On daily, there was a day I was in Ayiba.
Yes.
And I spent my time
yes,
to sit in front of Ayiba Hotel.
Yes.
And I counted about 150 trucks of coal.
They keep moving.
That was until when I got tired and I left.
Look at look at where leadership is deployed into the use of such available resources. Dangote, before he started his refinery in Lagos, constructed kilometers of concrete road
And
to service his products. If you go to Obajana, he constructed the same concrete road from Obajana Junction down to almost Ekiti State.
Yes.
Now, in our own case, you hear that these are cashew produce workers. Those ones stand there and wait. I mean, what's it called? Coal workers or something like that. I don't know what tax force they are. Their own is to wait there. Every truck that is passing, they take a peanut, 5,000, 1,000 naira. And that is all they could do about coal. And if you mention go home to try to even mention on this issue we are talking about now, those ones are the one attacking you, not even Dangote.
Exactly. Even the communities, the host communities.
Yes.
The roads.
You need to go to Okobo in Ampa. You will see a depth of something that can consume like 2 trailers downward. That's environmental degradation, my brother.
And they are widely spreading it across the smaller
communities. Yes.
Before now, it used to be only in
Okaba, yes, and Okobo. Now they are yes. What they are doing is they are digging along the coal line.
We are sitting on a very large expanse of coal belt.
Yes.
Carbon belt.
Down, yes, it's a carbon belt down to branch. They are even digging for branch.
Yes. It's a very
large. We have our deposit is enough for Nigeria not to even need.
And that is why, still, with all these deposits,
yes,
and with the coal
city yes, of Nigeria,
yes,
when they even do an underground cast, we do open cast. It is visible that our people are suffering the effect.
Yes.
Yet they are not getting the return on investment for what they are taking from them.
You see, knowledge.
Sorry, before you go of that thing, I want us to talk about this leadership. Because once the shepherd is good, the animals will go in the right
direction.
So I'm saying that this problem is a two-way traffic. The masses will have error in our selection system, where we just tell anybody that has money, we give them access to power,
yes,
and the leaders too, they don't even have vision of what is against the development of these people. So I still want us to look at it. Don't you see that in Kogi State, that one of the major problems that we have in leadership selection have to do with tribal politics. That he is good or not, he must come from my place. And that is from my place, that he is good or not, I support him. What is your idea about tribal politics in Kogi State?
Is getting to the point of we are on the red zone now with the current situation we find ourselves as regards to the tribal politics. Before now, to be fair to the governors from Kogi extraction, if you want to relate it to the case of Benue, the governors of Kogi East extraction before now, if governor comes from Kogi East, deputy will come from either of West or Central. The speaker will still come from that area. Compared to Benue, where it is only deputy governor, are you getting me, that will go
out of the thief extraction.
Out of the thief extraction. The speaker, the chief judge, the SSG, all will go the other way around. But in Kogi East, in Kogi State, the governor will come from Kogi East. All other relevant positions will come from either of the two, from across the Itobe. But now with this situation where we find ourselves, where Yaya Bello is exiting and is trying to bring his own brother, people that they vote in the same polling unit,
the same ward,
the same polling unit. It will agitate Not just Kogi people, even Nigeria. Because Tinubu, as powerful as Tinubu is, he rotates power in Lagos, within the three axes of Lagos. Tinubu rotates power. Even Buhari recognizes the fact that there is need for rotation of power. Even those Bello's ally, like El-Rufai and the rest, they rotate power. El-Rufai is from Kaduna North. He has moved power to Kaduna Central.
Kaduna Central.
Are you getting me? And so many other persons. Yaya forgot one important thing, that he's trying to end in a very, very, very bad note by trying to retain power among his people, or within his own clan, or within his own tribe. Yes, you might say it is tribal. A lot of Igbo people are not happy with that decision, because they know
as it stands today, either silently or pronounced, you cannot divorce ethnicity and politics.
Yes.
In Nigeria,
Yes.
religion, ethnicity.
But you have to be sensible. You have to be sensible in doing it,
Yes.
and understand that all those people that tried it, how did they end?
Yeah.
You have to look at it. Of recent, Sule Lamido tried to bring his son. Did he succeed?
He failed.
Rochas Okorocha tried to bring his in-law. These ones, they are all in-law.
In-law, not direct.
And from different senatorial
districts.
Upon Victor Atta tried it. Did he succeed? That was what brought Akpabio. And so many others.
There are examples.
If you want to talk, some people will tell you that Wike brought somebody from another senatorial district. And that's the chief of staff. And those people have never been governor. You have been. Are you getting me? If you had, that is within the APC arrangement, if you had said, okay, Edward, or you take it to Oku, some persons will not agitate any longer.
They'll be
The sentiment will-
You understand? They will now say, okay, he's observing principle of rotation.
rotation that the Igala people have done,
Yes.
the Igala people have done, let the Oku.
But this one, you want to still keep it within your parlor. It's not acceptable.
Okay, we'll get back.
Within your parlor, it's not acceptable.
Yes.
People will resist it.
Definitely. Sure.
The same way.
Yes.
Coming back to on this same
Yes.
issue.
Yes.
Ordinarily, this would have been addressed from the primaries of
Yes.
the party
Of course.
in APC and PDP.
PDP. Yes.
Looking at the Kogi East,
Yes.
and they just concluded primary elections of both political parties.
Yes.
Will you say they failed in their calculations, or they miscalculated, or what do you think happened to the Kogi East that they couldn't secure the ticket of PDP, neither that of APC?
Well, you see, let me first start with APC. What happened in APC was a clear case of Bello dropping the toga of being a governor and becoming an emperor, and undermining the system to be democratic and turning the whole state to an empire. What am I trying to bring out here? What APC did was a sham. There was no primary consequentially with that arrangement. You cannot have people's name expunged from the list. You cook numbers, force local government chairman of the tribe that is dominating to fight against their own candidate that was supposed to be the winner. Well, of course, it is interesting that the things have taken the turn they took. If not, their plan was to just make so sure that Igala do not have candidate in any of the parties. But things don't work the way you think it should most times. And when you plan from a weak point of view, from the defensive point of view, you will always have an error because it shows that you are not prepared. Let me tell you something. Primary elections are for parties. So our engagement in party where the party system is run by the man at the helm of affairs does not give us that democratic outlook to entirely say they failed in their responsibility. What we had was not even a primary in APC in the first place. So in PDP, of course, when politics have been returned into a mercantile affair, the highest bidder gets it. And unfortunately, we have two strong former governors sitting and could not bring the Igala people under the PDP umbrella. It's a shameful thing to openly say. But then that was not actually happening. Even if we say it there or not, it has been on media that Ibro was seated, Wada was seated, and could not come to a consensus to produce one. So it means there is no leadership.
I remember I assisted the primary election live.
Yes, I was there. Yes.
Ibro was there, Captain Wada was there,
yes.
Engineer Musa Wada was there.
If both of them could not,
all the rules,
if they could not come together, you see, so that is why I told you earlier, while opening this interview, that at a time will come, we will remove and expunge all this cog in our political wheel of progress. Let me tell you something. The age Ibro was before he became first governor. Some of us are almost attaining that.
Exactly.
Audu was 45 when he became governor. The almighty Achema that we are idealizing today was 45.
Exactly.
When they entered into politics. So if you are telling me that we need leadership from those that do not even recognize that they are the leaders, what are you expecting to get from them? You can't move forward with people that have closed the bar of movement. They are supposed to be fertilizing the ideas that should grow us now. They are not supposed to be directly imputing in our political system. And that is why they have come into the center and became political burden instead of becoming political assets.
Conclusively, I'm from the points you made here. Now, if you look at the state now, it is dissected on the tribal lines.
Yeah.
PDP holds, the Oku holds the PDP ticket.
Yes.
The Ipilas are holding the APC ticket. Then the Igala are holding SDP now.
Yes.
Strongly working. Do you think that there's possibility of Igala people rallying around their own this time? Sorry, the area I'm looking at, I mean, being conscious of the fact that some of our youths will take money to take arm against our people like they did in 2019. Do you think we can rally around the candidate from the East and put the majority, the strength of our population in use?
With sensitization, the people will rally around the chosen candidates by consensus of the Igala elders and youths and women. It's a moving train, and if you think that because it did not favor you, you go ahead with your campaign, well, you are free to do so, but a choice has been made. And if you feel that you are not satisfied, gather your own people, let them make their own choice. Let them make you their own choice so that we will know. Just like I said earlier on, it's a moving train that along the line, the train will keep on moving and people will keep on clinching on it. The coaches are open. They are open. It will continue to move.
Do you see it succeeding?
By the grace of God, with all determination.
It will succeed.
Yes. And people should not think because it is an Igala agenda. Some people will say Igala agenda. It's not everybody that can win Igala agenda, even if they give you the ticket.
That's correct.
Yes, it's not everybody.
Even as it's called Igala agenda.
Yes.
Strength, capacity, connection,
yes.
and accessibility.
You need somebody with capacity. Not because they say they coin it Igala agenda, then you now go and bring one new fight. You understand? One funny
Gallivanting up and down.
gallivanting candidates and say it's a gala agenda. Bello, you see the way Bello know how to punch very well.
Exactly.
You just punch that person like bag of rice.
It means to be somebody that
With capacity.
We have already gotten that person.
Things like a big.
Bello know how to punch. He's a very wise, ruthless dictator.
Wise, ruthless.
Are you getting me? When Bello was planning this thing, did any of them see it coming?
They did not.
That is to tell you that he's a very crafty and wise leader when it comes to such thing. Are you getting me? When it comes to such thing. But he might not be wise in the other way around.
All right, finally.
Yes. Well,
My brother says,
yes.
from his point of view, observation and assessment of the realities on the ground,
Yes.
that the Igala agenda is not to succeed.
Yes.
But let me ask you,
Yes.
as a youth activist,
Yes.
as a comrade,
Yes.
as a unionist,
Yes.
what if the Igala people unite?
Yes.
They agree.
Yes.
And some of the Igala youth take arms
Yes.
against their brothers.
My brother, the revolution now going on is beyond arms. Their arms are already woods, they are dead woods, because I assure you that the statement that was made at the consensus convocation in Ayangba on Saturday is sacrosanct to the definition of Igala politics. And let me even tell you, it has gone beyond the Igala. If you are aware, on that day, a lot of other people from across Igala land came over to that meeting and endorsed that meeting. And let me even inform you also,
Remember, we had people from
Ajakuta,
from
Lokoja land.
some from Lokoja, some from
That agenda that you call Igala agenda is Kogi agenda.
It's Kogi agenda, not
It,
Igala.
it has been drawn already. You see, people carry arms because they don't see people to oppose them. But when you carry arms and somebody carries stone, you know that there is a determination, and sometimes it's not the strength and the weapon that matters.
Exactly.
If you remember the Bible story of David and Goliath, how big was David? David was a minute midget in front of Goliath. But he had a slingshot.
a crude weapon.
A crude weapon, slingshot, yes. They gave him armory to wear. He pulled it because it was too heavy for him to carry. But the only thing there is the strategy.
And biblically, what was inside him?
Yes, was greater than the even 10 of Goliath standing in front of him. So this Goliath that is standing is already defeated because it is not coming from the principle of truth. And the first thing that you use in defeating anybody is truth. Bello failed in his calculation. He returned Kogi to an empire and he made himself an emperor. We are in a democracy. Democracy is a game of numbers. We hold a number. We should decide. We have been fair in our decision over the times. Look at the Benue demography. Look at the composition of their government appointments. We dare not even cry for deputy. I mean, beyond deputy when we're in Benue.
Exactly.
But we have liberalized everything. There was no concrete agreement that there should be rotation in Kogi. Tell me one convention that said there should be rotation. None. So we are good to go.
Viewers at home, this is the what you can do in this program. And before we go, I want to make a passionate appeal that I am one of those that believe that Kogi is blessed with people
For Kogites and Nigeria.
Nigerians. We have people that are rich upstairs. The discussion we had here is a very serious benefit to viewers out there. And the time is very short and the schedules are very tight. I will appreciate if both of you can create time after this time again, so that we can be discussing issues that we are awakening the consciousness of our people.
As event unfolds.
Yes, as it supplies our people. I will appreciate and thank you so much for coming. Once again, it's my pleasure to inform you that I have with me here in the studio two great unionists and comrades, Republican and that's the name that most of you will know them. This is the one you can take for today. Do not forget that I am your person, your anchor person on this program, political family, Julian from the station of Unity Radio and Television, URTV. Thank you for being with us. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And God bless Kogi.
mete nebi na balio memele me wakalo tubo ibo. You are TV, you are TV. Menawa, you are TV. Menawa kalo ina bali ogeta. Iyo buba I eyola ukola ei etete. Menawa kalo tubo ibo. You are TV, menawa you are TV. Ibo mi kala, you are TV. Menawa, menawa, you are TV. Ibo mi kala, eduni medododa. Menawa, you are TV. Adukola pogo, ukole ki wanugo. Ekumene jumeli, bakumene timebo. Menawa kalo tubo, you are TV. Selema boy kala, nebukolo jamalia. Ukole iogu, mayuche iogu. You are TV. Amadukole yopogo.